In a quiet corner of the city stands a restaurant owned by a mysterious woman known as Madame. Madame's restaurant has a charming charm, but also holds a secret aura that disturbs reason. Salsa, one of the new workers there, is initially skeptical of ghost stories and superstitions. She considers herself logical, grounded in reality, but all that begins to change. It all started with a warning from Rose, her gentle coworker. Rose pulled Salsa aside and whispered, "Don't go into the warehouse alone. There's something standing in the dark." At first, Salsa laughed it off, but that night, as she went into the warehouse to get supplies, she felt it. She felt a change in the air. A soft whisper reached her ear. "Be careful." A few days later, the atmosphere in the kitchen changed drastically. The air felt heavier. The heat from the stove seemed to envelop the entire room. Suddenly, one of the staff screamed. His body convulsed, his eyes rolled back. Then one by one, the other employees fell, screaming, crying, struggling uncontrollably. Salsa stood still, her body shaking. She had never seen this many people possessed. Rose, who was beside her, fainted while trying to read a prayer. Salsa rushed over, but when she tried to lift Rose's body, her arm was hit by a large pot of boiling water. Salsa's screams echoed throughout the kitchen. The skin on her hands blistered instantly. The pain pierced her bones. Her vision began to blur, then dark. In the hospital, lying with burns, Salsa was visited by a man named Mazjan. He claimed to be a psychic and had been following the events at Madame's restaurant for years. "That place is not an ordinary place," he said softly. "There is a price to pay for Madame's success, and that price is the blood and soul of a virgin girl." Salsa choked. Her body went limp as she realized that she might be the next target. Mazjan told her more about the supernatural figures that inhabited the restaurant. He also asked Salsa, "Have you ever worked all day, tired, but after you took a shower and spent the night at the restaurant, your body felt fit and fresh again?" Salsa answered, "Of course, Madame's restaurant is one of the most famous in this city. Every day we work like we never have a break without stopping. So I often stay at the restaurant because I'm too tired to go home. But strangely, every morning I feel very fresh, as if the tiredness just disappears." "That's right," said Mazjan. "That is the next characteristic of the victim. There is a spirit that absorbs the tired energy of the workers to keep them strong, but with spiritual consequences," he continued. Salsa returned home from the hospital with her mind in turmoil. However, she decided to go back to work, hoping that everything was just a coincidence. But since the first day she returned, strange events began to emerge. The pot moved by itself when no one was around. The kitchen lights flickered on and off every time Salsa passed by. The sound of footsteps could be heard as if there was a figure watching her activities. One night, she saw a tall, big shadow standing right behind Madame. When Salsa dug deeper, she realized that all the other female workers were married. She was the only one who was still intact. This fact made her shiver with fear. The climax occurred when Salsa was washing dishes alone. The small mirror on the wall showed her face, but with blood flowing from her eyes and lips. She turned around. No one was there, but a whispering voice was clearly heard. "You're next." Salsa couldn't take it anymore. She decided to resign, but her decision was not the end of everything. Leaving the restaurant didn't end it all. Every night, nightmares came to her. Salsa ran through the dark corridors of the restaurant, chased by the figure of Madame, her face damaged and covered in blood, her eyes empty like a dead doll. Screams, blood, and fire filled her sleep. In those dreams, Salsa saw Madame sitting with a black creature with large horns. They spoke in a strange language. Sometimes the creature looked at Salsa and smiled lopsidedly. Salsa began to have trouble sleeping. Her body was weak, her eyes were black. She began to smell the fishy smell and jasmine flowers in her room, a smell that used to only exist in the restaurant kitchen. Mas John visited her again. He said that Madame had not given up. The failure of the sacrifice made Madame have to pay a greater price. Her spirit was slowly being pulled by the creature that helped her. She is bound by a promise, and you are the key to her failure. That's why she came to your dream. She wants you back, or she will be destroyed. Until one night, everything stopped. No more nightmares, no more whispers. The world felt calm for the first time in months. The next morning, the news spread quickly. Madame had died in a traffic accident. The car she was driving had crashed into a large tree on a quiet bend in the road. Strangely, her body was found pinned with an expression of utter terror on her face. There was no sign that she had tried to save herself, as if someone or something had picked her up at the last second. Madame's death was a mystery, but for Salsa, it was the end of a long reign of terror that had destroyed her life. Some roads offered riches, but were paved with blood. Salsa survived, but the memory of Madame's restaurant still haunted her, like a whisper in the dark.